take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The champ does what the fuck he wants.
It's time!
Oh shit, are you fucking kidding me or what?
This intro fucking slaps, dude.
It slaps, man. It's
slaps.
pretty dope.
It's nice.
Shout out to the guy making it. I don't know his name. Omar.
Yeah.
Omar's his name.
Omar on Fiverr. Google him.
Yeah, dude. Great work, great job. That was literally his first cut too. He sends that to us, and I'm like, dude, that's sick.
Yeah,
that slaps.
No
Thank
revisions
you.
needed.
No, none. As a matter of fact, here's a giant tip because you earned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Welcome to the Church of MMA. My name is Mason Knight. That is Tabor.
Tabor Cragen.
Cragen.
What's up?
Mr. Cragen himself, the Cragen Master, and we are here. We are here to recap UFC 167, Corey Anderson versus Juan Blachowicz.
Yeah. What a crazy night of fights, honestly. And like we said last week, it wouldn't surprise me if there was some controversy. There's controversy at every UFC fight.
Always.
Every single time. Your camera's not switching, by the way. Just sorry. Anyways, every single time, every fight card, there's always something. And it just so happened that there was 2 illegal knees tonight, and they were bad ones. They were bad ones. Diego Sanchez fight, like you said, that was a little debatable, but the first one, Brok Weaver. Weaver versus Vargas. Wow.
Yeah, and there was a lot of hype behind this fight, I guess necessarily at the weigh-ins. Brok Weaver does his, he has the headgear or the head, I don't know what it's called. The feathers,
like
the Native American.
It was really cool.
And there was a lot of hype behind this fight. I thought it was going to be fun, fast paced, and it was at first until that illegal knee, and that was such an obvious. I mean, Brok Weaver was on the ground. You could clearly see it for an extended period of time, 5 to 10 seconds at least.
Yeah.
And Vargas throws that illegal knee, and that's that. I mean, he knocked him out basically. He wasn't out cold, but there's no way he could have continued that fight.
No, that knee was absolutely vicious.
Yeah. It was
absolutely vicious, he wasn't unconscious necessarily, but you could tell he was done. He was not continuing. It was a great stoppage by the ref.
Yep.
He didn't even give him the chance to say, "Hey, I'm fine, I can continue." Well, no, that was well-deserved disqualification.
Exactly. And in the sport of MMA, that's what I respect a lot more than like sports like boxing. Like boxing is great. It's been around for a long time. But I'm not a big fan of these guys who are getting knocked out almost and then coming back, getting a 10 count. Whereas MMA, like when you're knocked out, it's over. It's done. Yeah. And I think that's a lot healthier and safer for the fighters. But at the same time, I say that, but we would have never got that Wilder, Tyson Fury when he rises from the grave at round 12 and if that comes back and wins the rest of the round.
If that was a real 10 count, he's out. Mm-hmm. That's a knockout.
Oh, totally. That was about like 12 or 13 seconds.
He gave him every chance to get back in there.
He did, literally every chance.
And I'm glad he did. I honestly thought he won that fight.
So did I. But boxing is,
Yeah, that's a whole nother
it is.
Tough cookie. But yeah, man, really, Brok Weaver said after the fight, that's a loss in his book. He doesn't consider that a win. He was really disappointed with himself. He goes, "Where I'm from, there are no rules. And that's a loss in my book." So even though illegal knee or no illegal knee, he says he has got a lot of work on. And this guy's huge for lightweight. 6 foot, jacked,
that is
giant.
Wild.
Yeah.
6 foot
Yeah.
at 155. That's crazy.
He's like an Indian Dan Hooker. The guy's long and strong, very tough.
Well, he also said that he'd be totally willing to run it back as well.
Yes. Yeah, Vargas.
Vargas,
damn, that guy's a motherfucker.
He is.
He's tough. He was taking him down at will. He got in a little danger there with that guillotine attempt. Mm-hmm. He had to protect his neck, but
I thought at one moment he might have had that.
Yeah,
Weaver.
It looked tight. Yeah. It looked tight. You could see his hands in the camera. He only had a grip like this, which probably isn't the best grip at all, and that's why he slipped. It's just the fingers weren't strong enough. If he had more of a grip like this, he probably could have finished it. Just couldn't quite get out. Vargas did a very good job defending it. Yeah. Didn't give up. You could tell he was either going to sleep or he was getting out. He was not going to tap. That was a really good fight before it ended. I
believe that was the fight too, where you could see the grimace on his face too when he's getting choked out, and they commented on that. DC did. It's like, wow, he got out of that.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
super tight. Go back to the drawing board, Brock, dude. You looked good, and he was a Contender Series guy. He had a lot of hype behind him. He had to wait a little bit for this matchup. But coming out of Mobile, Alabama, he's a huge local hero in that town, apparently. Everyone loves that guy. He's going to have a lot of hype behind him. He's going to bring a big crowd every time he fights. So we'll see.
And I get his perspective and opinion, but rules are rules.
Yeah.
and it is not a loss. I know he counts it as a loss, but when both opponents are told, hey, do not, this is illegal strike, you cannot do it, and someone does that, it is breaking the rules. And I know it's a loss to him, but you can't blame the guy. He's not going to defend that because he doesn't expect it coming. He doesn't see it coming, right?
Yeah.
If you're not supposed to knee an opponent on the ground, then you're never going to see that coming.
No, and the referees spend a lot of time beforehand explaining everything
the rules
to every fighter before every fight. They have
Every
to.
event.
So they know whether or not that knee is illegal. So they just, especially in the case of Vargas, he really needs to be a little more aware of his surroundings. Yes.
But also understand this, too, that when you're in the moment, it's life or death in that cage.
Exactly.
Like these men put their life on the line, too. And, when you're in the moment, sometimes that just happens.
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad for Greg Hardy and that disqualification that he had that one time.
Yeah, especially because he's so green.
Right. And I really don't think he intentionally or maliciously did it. He just, threw the illegal strike. But nonetheless, it was a fun fight until it ended.
Exactly. It was a very fun fight. I was actually really excited for it. Especially the guillotine attempt got me more hyped. I was like, oh, shit. Okay, he's just going to control him on the ground. But then the guillotine attempt, I was like, oh, shit. This guy isn't just a striker. So, yeah, very impressed. Honestly, with both men. I really do hope they rematch each other. That's a good matchup.
Yeah,
That's
I want to see him run it back for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so future's looking bright for both men, honestly.
So we'll move on to the bantamweight division, the John Dodson versus Nathaniel Wood fight.
Oh, great fight. I was super hyped for this fight. And it was a great fight.
It was.
That first round was all Nathaniel Wood. John Dodson just looked like he just wasn't quick enough. He was still getting hit, even though he was so quick. He was just still getting touched right at the extension.
Man, he is such a fast man.
So fast. He's probably
one of the
quickest
fastest
fighters.
in the UFC, in my opinion, as far as like just foot speed and stuff, just moving around the octagon,
So
just
quick.
like crazy.
Yeah,
I mean,
he knocked out TJ Dillashaw.
Yeah, that's
you got to
no
have
joke.
tremendous footwork to even land on him.
Totally. Yeah. Even with the EPOs.
He was going for days.
What is your opinion on that? I mean, like, because EPOs, that's a very serious, like, that can only be in your system if you inject it. So you know what exactly the hell is going into your system.
Yeah.
I think the 125 cut was just too much for him, right?
Exactly. And if he didn't have to cut for that, he said he would have never taken it. But you got to remember, Cody Garbrandt's been calling this guy cheat for a long time. He says, hey, what are you on the shit? He was talking all that shit before the second fight and first fight about how he's on drugs. So maybe this is something
Well, and he specifically said EPOs at one point. I think back in 2016 or 17.
Exactly.
So I think they knew about this. It might have been a thing that was regularly used. I mean, we'll never know. Yeah, it's all speculation, but...
And to his defense, USADA has come out and said that they retested old P samples because they keep it all. So they went out and retested all his past fights, and he didn't test positive for EPO in most of those. So
in most of them?
Yeah.
But some of them?
Most of them. So I believe they said the only one he ever tested for EPO was the Henry Cejudo fight.
Oh, that was it?
That was it.
Okay, then that is understandable. It's still wrong to cheat, and I'm not okay with it. Absolutely at all. I think, if anything, he should have called his management 3 or 4 weeks out and been like, hey, we can't make this fight happen. I cannot make the weight. But to take an illegal substance when, I mean, you're talking about life or death here. Like, you really are in the ring, and I think it's absolutely wrong. And I really do love USADA and what they do for the sport.
They're doing a very, very good job, especially cleaning it up. Yeah. But, so... The Henry Cejudo fight, he should have never taken that, especially at 125. No. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not surprised at all that he had to do something to even make weight. He looked like a zombie. He looked disgusting.
Well, and then he got knocked out in the first round on top of that.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. He probably had no water around his brain. Yeah. He was probably so dehydrated. Yeah, ridiculous.
And to get your brain rehydrated, it takes longer than your actual body.
Yeah, that's why I love that the UFC is doing this new... weigh-in system where they weigh in the mornings instead of actual ceremony. So actually, they get a little bit more than 24 hours to rehydrate, but that's still not long enough. Weigh in it 2 days earlier. Why not? Let's give these athletes, or just cut weight cutting. That's the smarter option. Just cut weight cutting. Yeah. Just get rid of it. It's ridiculous.
But people are still going to do it to make weight.
I think there needs to be a limit. Do a hydration test.
Unless they do the what one championship does, and they do a hydration test throughout camp.
Exactly. You could still cut 10 pounds. Why not? Let's give them a 10-pound barrier, because there's so many guys that are in between weight classes either way. If they couldn't cut weight, they'd probably be fucked. That's why boxing has so many goddamn weight classes, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. But John Dodson did have a great performance, and coming out in that third round, he caught him. He caught Nathaniel Wood, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, he won both the second round, and I was so impressed. Especially his boxing is so good, and he's so quick. He it's honestly beautiful to watch. The way he moves with his feet and he just hits these little quick slip jabs and these little quick left hooks. It's honestly amazing. I'm not shocked at all that he knocked him out. The dude is jacked.
Yeah, he is.
He's so jacked and he's so little. He calls himself a midget and all that stuff. And you knew he was gonna win the second he cut his fro. The fro was the bad luck. The fro was it. If you get rid of the fro, man, he just got a little bit louder, got a little bit quicker. Yeah, he looked amazing. He really did.
It's crazy too because he's only 5'3".
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
he's
so small,
and that's small for bantamweights.
Yeah,
that's small for a flyweight. Shit, I can't. It must have been a super tough weight cut him to get 125. He's so thick.
He's a thick boy. Yeah, for 5'3", no doubt.
Yeah, so tough, so powerful. I really don't know who we match him up with next. He's fought everybody, and he's fighting killers. Nathaniel Wood was no fucking joke. That guy was a savage, and for him to finish him like that, especially after getting his ass kicked that whole first round, man, it was a great fight. Really good win for John Dodson.
Yeah, we'll see what the future holds for him.
Yeah.
All right, so the next fight, what do we got here?
Merab. Merab.
Oh, Merab, that's right. We did pick on this one. And just to go back, because this is one of my only victories this week, you kind of swept the board here, Tabor. Yeah. For our picks this week, you got a lot right, and I got 2 points. You totaled in at what?
I had 7 points. I got Merab. And we'll get into the others, but Merab by unanimous decision. I was right.
Yep.
I'm not going to say I'm a genius.
I picked Merab second round, so I get a point for that. We also, the John Dodson fight, I picked John Dodson in decision. You picked Nathaniel Wood in decision. Ended up being a third round TKO, so that's 1 point for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to take every point I can right now. It's tough.
Did you know what your total was from last week?
I still don't. I will go back. I'll do my due diligence and go back and actually look at it. And
we'll tweet about it. Follow us on Twitter to find out. But yeah, dude, freaking Merab. Holy shit. The Machine, that's a good nickname
what they call
because
him,
that's what he is. He's a freaking machine.
Because they say he just works so hard in the gym all the time. He's just always on level 10.
Yeah, and think about it. His main sparring partner, Aljo Sterling.
Yeah, you're going to get good fast or you're going to get beat up, one of the two.
Yeah,
there's no in between.
And if he's rolling with the guy and competing with him really well, which everyone says he is, everyone says Rob is a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be top 5, especially if he keeps winning in the way he just did. He absolutely dominated Casey Kenny.
He absolutely dominated, and he threw 241 strikes and landed 114 of those.
Yeah.
He threw, again, hear me out, he threw 241 strikes.
Ridiculous,
That's
dude.
over a 3. This is not a 5-rounder. This is over 3 rounds. Like the pace that he put on that's just insane.
Ridiculous pace. Absolutely. Just outworked him from start to finish, and you could tell Casey Kenny was just not ready for it. He's never had to work that.
No.
You can't match that pace. When you're just getting fucked up and you land a big body kick and the dude's just smiling at you like it didn't affect him at all, it's just demoralizing.
Yeah, that'll screw with your head.
And
too,
the takedowns, he was 12 of 24 on takedowns. He's one of the 3 fighters in the UFC to have that many takedowns in at least 2 different UFC fights. So he's already on the leaderboard. So he's already on a record.
Well, and he's part of the Ray Longo, Matt Serra camp. And when you're dealing with Matt Serra in your corner and Ray Longo, that's just got to be the best coaching around. Some of the best, I should say. Yeah. There are other great camps as well, but Matt Serra, he's just hilarious.
Did you hear him yelling, "Stomp his feet! Stomp his feet, Merab! Stomp his feet!"
In the last 15 seconds, as they're in the
He's like, "Hit those toes! Hit those toes!" Yeah. I couldn't even hear Ray. Matt was yelling so
hard
loud.
Hard knees. Yeah. You could just hear him the whole time, man. But it's such a distinguishable voice that you can't miss Ray Longo and Matt Serra.
No,
Yeah,
the second you hear that voice, you know exactly. You could lock in on him because he's so damn loud.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish it was his catchphrase. I wish Ray Longo would always go, "I want you to punch a hole in his fucking chest."
Just say it every fight, every 10 seconds. Hey, you didn't punch a hole. Fucking do it. Punch him in the chest.
Punch him in the chest.
I love that guy.
Yeah. But that was a fun fight.
Very fun fight.
Yep.
Great fight. Great job, Merab, dude. He fucked that guy up. Honestly.
What's next for him?
Ooh, I don't know. I would love to see him versus a top 10 guy. Give him anybody, really. Any matchup. The guy's so well-rounded. He could fight anybody. Give Pedro Munoz. Why not? Let's get him in a good freaking brawl. That guy's a brawler. Comes to fight. Let's get Merab, see if he can handle some heat. He got caught quite a few times in this fight. But you know what? He's got a great chin. So let's really test it. Let's test it with someone that's a heavy hitter.
Yeah. That'd be a fun fight.
Very fun fight. Yeah, and he hasn't had a fight since, who did he lose to? Aljo Sterling. He hasn't fought since.
Yep.
So that'd be a great fight. Or you can give him anybody, dude. that guy's gonna out train, especially if he's training with Aljo every single day.
What do you think about him and John Dodson?
Oh, that's a great fight too. That's a tough fight for Merab. Yeah. But if he can get him down and control him on the ground,
exactly. I think that's where it might be fun.
Yeah.
It would be a fun fight, I think, because stylistically they are different.
Yeah.
So matching up might be a good idea.
And it's so hard to get a hold of that guy. It is so hard to even just get your hands on him. He's so hard to even just hit. It'd be a great fight. I'd really like that matchup. So, what's the next fight after that? Montana De La Rosa.
Ooh, yeah,
versus,
let's talk about that one.
Mara Borella.
Yep. Romero Borella.
Montana was struggling there in the first round for a little bit. She was really getting pieced up a little bit. She got taken down to the ground, had to fight off her back for a bit. Then she scrambled and took her back at the end of the first, and that might have won her that round.
Yeah,
at least one judge's decision.
On one of them, yeah.
Crazy. She was losing that whole round. She should have lost the first.
But again, I mean, we're talking about judges here. We're talking about judges in New Mexico, nonetheless. So we just dealt with that shit in Texas, so we're gonna deal with it in New Mexico. But I have gone on record saying that was not a robbery by any stretch of the imagination. The UFC 247
John
main
Jones
event,
Reyes.
yeah. But still, it was shady judging.
Yeah.
At least by Joe Silvas or whatever his name is, or John Silvas or whatever.
Yeah, that guy should never ref ever again. No. Fire that guy. Get him out. Get him out of the sport. No, but Montana, she showed a lot of heart there, especially in the second and third rounds. Took her back multiple times, took her down to the ground, was really controlling her, landing good strikes. She was never a finishing threat. You know, this girl ain't out here finishing people. She's a ground fighter. She wants to take you down to the ground and submit you or control you, win rounds. And I was impressed. She's got great jiu-jitsu. And we shouldn't be surprised that her jiu-jitsu is so good. Most of her UFC fights end with submission. So she's a jiu-jitsu specialist. But I was really impressed with it, you know, to submit a girl that tough. And that girl was really tough and strong too. And she just outworked her on the ground. And I was really impressed with Montana.
We also got to bring up that her husband fought on this card as well, which is, I think, the first time that's happened.
It is.
But Mark De La Rosa fought. Unfortunately for him, things did not end well. He was knocked out in the second round.
Yeah.
So,
that sucks. Yeah, he might have cornered her. I wonder if that was the plan. So, you know, if that was the plan and he couldn't corner her, that could really throw you off.
It could.
Especially if one of your coaches just has to drop out last second.
I mean, you got to think about the focus, too. Like, you know your husband got knocked out. You're definitely going to ask.
Oh, and it's got to mess with your head.
Oh, it's got to mess with it. Yeah. And she still went out there and put on a good performance.
Yeah, she did really well. She really kept her composure. Did a great job. Yeah, I was really impressed. Great jiu-jitsu. I want to see her develop her striking a little more because she definitely got outstruck on the feet. Yeah. So develop your striking a little more. She's great jiu-jitsu. She's great on the ground, but she can always develop that more as well. And if she becomes a really big threat off her back, you know, that girl's going to be scary for a lot of girls. I can't think of many jiu-jitsu specialists in the flyweight division. You got Jennifer Maia, but other than that, I can't think of many. A lot of them are strikers. A lot of them are that Dutch style of kickboxing. So
what do you see next? De La Rosa. Because, I mean, we have Macy Barber at 9, but Macy will be out a while.
Yeah. She's
probably close to a year. Andrea Lee just fought.
Yeah, but they already fought each other. Andrea Lee beat her pretty convincingly.
Alexis Davis?
That'd be a good fight. That'd be a good
she's
fight.
Number
or
10.
Lauren Murphy. You know,
Lauren Murphy, she just came off that win.
Yeah, so, you know.
And she's at 6, though. I doubt she'd want to take a De La Rosa, though.
No, she wants to work up and go get that.
She's probably going to take like a Jennifer Maia or something like that. So.
Yeah, Jennifer Maia would be a great fight. Great jiu-jitsu matchup right there. You know, really see who's got the better jiu-jitsu.
I wonder why.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Because she's Brazilian.
Great jiu-jitsu. Imagine that.
No way.
No, we don't buy that.
No, she's great. Yeah, I don't really know, man. There's like that division. There's so many fights happening right now in that division. It's really hard for these matchmakers, especially because that division's not as developed as, say, like the strawweight division. Yeah, strawweight division's very developed. But yeah, you could really throw her in there with anybody. You can throw her in there with a Jessica Ai. Why not? Let's give her a good test. And if she could beat a Jessica Ai, she's a top 5 fighter.
Yeah, if you can beat Ai, absolutely, you're a top 5.
And they're trying to develop new talent. They need girls for Shevchenko to fight because real quickly Shevchenko just said she wants to fight in the next 2-3 months. So they're gonna have to get contenders.
Which is literally just insane because there's no one for her.
Yeah,
there's no legit competitor in my eyes.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe we run back that Jessica Ai fight, maybe because she got head kicked. But it's like I think it's the same outcome. I think Shevchenko wins that fight. And decidedly too,
knocks her out
you know?
too again. Unfortunately, she's just because Jessica's a striker, Dutch kickbox style, but she is not on the level of a Shevchenko. Shevchenko's scary.
Oh, dude, I love her though. I've never been so scared and so like just weirdly attracted to a woman in my life. Did you see that Russian picture that she had?
Yep.
The Russian spy. I like how she's leaning into it too.
She
like
loves
she's
it.
actually like humorous about it, which is
She was
nice.
saying she wants to fight Henry Cejudo and shit like that when all that was going down.
For the flyweight championship, the whatever gender neutral
Gender neutral one. Yeah.
Flyweight championship of the
Henry
world.
would probably get fucked up. He
probably would.
He'd get too mesmerized.
Yeah.
You'd just be fucking turned on the whole time there.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
He's just trying to grapple her.
I'd watch it.
Okay, we got to talk about this, Tabor. We have to talk about the Diego Sanchez Michel Pereira fight.
Oh yeah.
Where do we begin as far as like with Diego Sanchez, obviously in his corner, man? I don't know what was going on. Like he was saying, like fight the shadow people, or be like a shadow. I didn't understand what the advice was. It was so weird, and like we were wondering, as we were watching it, like DC was even bringing up maybe it's code or something. I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
Yeah.
It was just so utterly confusing for me. And the way Diego doesn't cut weight or anything. He's doing everything natural, and he looks good out there, but he just never put anything together in this fight.
No, he was completely outclassed from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And I was so impressed with Michel Pereira. We'll get to him in a second, but the coaching. Be like a bee or some weird bee shit. Like, what the fuck's this guy talking about?
I don't know who he is, and I feel like Diego's slipping a little bit.
Yeah,
mentally.
I was talking mad shit about the guy last week.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
It is very weird, and I have no idea. Diego's a weird cat too, so
it
doesn't surprise me that these guys are so attracted to each other. Mm-hmm. But really, man, that was just it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch that, and even Trevor Whitman. Let's give Trevor Whitman a little shout. I love that guy.
Yeah, I'm so glad they do that corner commentary with him.
Ever since they went to ESPN, they started with Trevor Whitman, and he has brought an entire new level to the sport in the commentary.
He's so knowledgeable too. Yeah, I mean that guy. He really really knows the game.
He is one of the best coaches in the game. Yes. I put him up there with a Mike Brown and maybe a few others like a Henry Hooft or a what's the guy from Milwaukee? Duke Rufus. Duke. These guys are top class, best coaches in the world, and he's up there for sure. So, just strange, just so strange.
It is.
It was just it was really baffling, and it was hard to watch.
It was hard to watch at times because Diego doesn't look bad. He doesn't look out of shape. He doesn't look like he shouldn't be there. I think he still should be there. He's tough. He took some big shots,
huge shots. He's got a real good chin.
He's got a great chin, but the game plan just isn't there. I mean, when you're quarterman, like there's no game plan. He's telling you to be like the shadow people, and it's like,
if it gets sticky, get out. If it gets sticky, get out. What the fuck do you mean?
What do you mean by that? Well, and then Diego's doing this weird thing with his hand where he's like, it's like a traditional weird, and it's not karate, but it kind of reminded me of karate a little bit.
Yeah.
Where he like sticks, and I know it's not, but he was sticking his hand out straight, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Did you see the Eric Anders tweet? It's
no,
like,
I didn't.
You can't make a force field, Diego. And he's sitting there doing that. He's like, force fields don't work, Diego. It was really hard to watch.
Everyone's kind of asking the question now, what is going on?
And he had the crowd behind him the whole time. He was getting the shit kicked out of him for 3 rounds. And the crowd
they were
was
chanting,
Diego.
Diego.
It was so crazy. Yeah. And then for it to end in the way it did, that illegal knee.
Okay,
and he was. It wasn't as bad as the Brok Weaver one. That one was direct to the jaw. But so was this one. And this one, I'm going to say it's illegal. You said it was closer than, since you rewatched it, you said it was a little closer than most people thought.
No. It was definitely a legal knee. I don't want to misinterpret that whatsoever. Yeah. It was just way less egregiss than the Brok Weaver, Vargas knee. You know, so
yeah, that one was bad and it was super obvious. This one, I'm actually shocked that they were giving Diego the chance to come back. Like, dude, if you're getting your fucking ass kicked for 3 rounds and then you get hit like that, and it was really obvious that the guy was seriously concussed.
Yes.
He was seriously concussed.
So let's go through the events real quick, because Diego Sanchez and what he did, he was kind of asking a lot of questions. He was trying to verify what he thought to believe to be true of if he could not continue, he would win the fight. Diego Sanchez knew.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the reason, I think he could have continued because Diego's so tough. I think he could have. Strategically, I think Diego Sanchez did the right thing, though.
Yes.
You knew he was down two rounds, possibly 3, more than likely 3. I'm just saying it wasn't finalized because we didn't see the end of that round. But you know you're down on the judge's scorecard. So what's the best option? Take the illegal knee and go home with your win.
That's what we think, you know, but a lot of fighters were talking mad shit about him, you know, especially on Twitter, saying he quit, saying he gave up, and it was all on live television. And, you know, you could see him. The ref came up to him. It's an illegal knee. If you don't want to continue, if you can't continue, you know, it's a disqualification. You win. And he goes, oh, I win if I can't continue. And he goes, oh, well, it was an illegal knee. It was an illegal knee, you know, so...
Yeah, and I saw that.
Yeah,
and I do get both points. Like, I'm not a fighter, you're not a fighter. Never claimed to be fighters. So we don't have that same mentality, that same mindset from the fighter's perspective, which they are all entitled to their own opinions as far as like whether or not he quit or not. But as a fan, strategically for me, whether or not I like Diego, whether or not I hate him, I get the strategy. It was an illegal knee, and it was a hard knee. He was bleeding from top of the eye,
and he was fucked up from it.
I mean, I'm not thrilled that he said he couldn't continue, but at least we did get to see a fight.
Yeah.
You know, at least it wasn't like 2 minutes into the first round, and then we get, you know, it's a co-main event and a legal strike, and then we're done. Yeah. That would have sucked.
So Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell was tweeting about it, and he was just saying how fucked up it was, and he was like, what the fuck? He's like, I would never do that. And I asked him on Twitter, would you continue if you're that fucked up, you're that seriously rocked and concussed from it, and you're already down 2 rounds? And he tweeted back at me, he says, does a bear shit in the woods?
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of these fighters, it was tough for them to watch. And it was tough for me as a fan to watch because, you know, I love Diego Sanchez and this Michel Pereira guy. It's such a damn shame that this is the first thing we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Because he had a great performance.
He did.
Absolutely looked amazing. He
Dominated
from start to finish, and it was the most self-controlled Michel Pereira we've ever seen, and it was so smart because especially in Rio Ranchero, it's just as high as Denver, so it's like it's really bad for the cardio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw a few numbers at you. His total strikes were 56 of 94. Out of those 56 strikes that he landed, 53 of them were significant strikes, and he was 2 for 2 on his takedowns.
Wow.
A dominant performance by Michel Pereira.
Yeah.
And it is very sad for him and his career because, again, he's coming off 2 losses now with the Tristan Connolly fight.
Yeah. And
now with the disqualification of one Diego Sanchez. One more fight. You know how the UFC is. You lose 3 in a row and you're out.
Yeah.
That has been the model of the UFC for a long time. So it's just unfortunate because he was dominating that fight. So hopefully, I know Dana doesn't do any favors for fights or anything, but if Michel were to lose his next fight, give him a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time. I at least as a fan, because Michel Pereira is a very entertaining fighter.
Yeah.
And he's explosive.
Especially because he was so dominant in that fight. You know, that really should be a win in his book if he would have been a little more self-aware. But it's so hard in those type of moments. You know, I completely understand it. You know, it's so hard, especially when you're green like Greg Hardy and Michel Pereira. Like, let's be real, this guy's pretty green too. He's only 25 years old.
Pull that a little closer.
He's only 25 years old, and you know, so we'll see. The future's looking pretty bright for him still. You know, he looked amazing, and it was so crazy seeing him. He did what, 2 backflips? The whole time.
And of course,
we're saying
Diego,
how that's crazy. If anybody did 2 backflips in a fight, we'd be like, what the fuck? This guy did 2 backflips?
But he does it every time.
Yeah, because he does 6 or 7 or 9 or 10 of them. We're like, oh, okay, he's doing pretty good. He's only doing 2 backflips.
Well, again, he also was doing the whole break dancing thing coming into the octagon, which expends a lot of energy. But again, Michel Pereira says that is who he is.
Yeah, and he says he'll never change.
He'll never change. So
he says he's an entertainer.
Yep,
it's just what he does. Whatever.
But he looked great. I don't really know where Diego goes from here, and I don't know where Michel Pereira goes either. I think for Diego, you know, he's kind of a gatekeeper for the UFC now. I really believe that. So I don't know where we go from here for either fighter.
After this fight, I really hope Diego sits down with his team and just talks to him. Like, dude, you can't be getting your ass kicked like that. You know, if you want to fight grapplers. That's cool. But you can't be getting your ass kicked like that anymore.
I think Diego still has the skills, though. I do. I just think it's the coaching. I think it's the weird coach.
But so does Tito Ortiz. You know, he's still got the skills, but his body just isn't there to match with him. Or not Tito Ortiz. That's a bad example because he's still fighting and still winning. Fucking Chuck Liddell. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't think Diego's...
Yeah, but Chuck's 50 and Diego's 36, you know.
But he's getting there, dude. He's had so many fucking wars.
He's had 42 professional fights.
And so many of them were just dominant wars, and he got the shit kicked out of him, and he was beating it just so back and forth. You can only take so much damage in your career, man. I don't want to see him get his ass kicked like that again.
Well, no, and I do agree with that, but at the same time, like he beat Craig White, and then he beat Mickey Gall. He lost to Michael Chiesa, and then so I guess he has kind of gotten his ass kicked in the last 2 fights, but he is fighting killers too.
Yeah, exactly. He's only fighting killers. Let's fight someone that's not so bad. Let's fight a Matt Brown. Let's fight a freaking Ben Saunders, another legend,
Well, yeah, and let's be realistic here. Diego Sanchez is fighting guys who are really 30 pounds heavier than him, cutting weight.
And Michel should be a freaking 185er.
He's
way too big.
He's big.
He's massive.
He's a big boy.
He looks like a little bit smaller than Yoel. Like, I can't believe he makes 170. It's absolutely
crazy.
insane. He looks like he's Darren Till. He looks like a bigger version of Darren Till.
Yep.
Freaking crazy.
I don't know. Darren's pretty big, though. I cannot
Especially
believe
now.
Darren was making 170.
Especially now that he's at 185,
fucking
you know he's
crazy.
getting real thick.
Yeah. Which that was the best move for his career. He should have been a 185 this whole time.
Yes.
The performance he put on against Kelvin Gastelum was absolutely beautiful.
Top notch. And
I mean,
and the cardio looked amazing.
One more fight, and I think we're title contention.
Yeah.
A title contention fight.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you got to think about Kelvin, too. He just came off that loss to Israel.
Yeah.
Like that.
And
You know what I'm saying?
He's coming off 2 losses now,
Yeah.
so he's gonna have to turn around. We'll talk about that in a minute.
But he's always fun. He's young, too. He's only like 28 years old.
Yeah.
Kelvin's one of my favorite fighters just to watch because it's always entertaining. It's never a dull fight with Kelvin.
Yeah, and he's always a smaller guy. He always looks like he's the underdog, so it's easy to root for him. Super easy to root for that guy. Yeah, man. Diego Sanchez, though, that was a rough fight to watch, and it was just cringy from beginning to end. It honestly looked like a middleweight fighting a lightweight. It really did.
It did.
You could tell that Diego cut maybe 1 pound. You could just tell.
And in the breathing, too, like after he realized that he did, he said he can't continue and they called the fight. Did you see what Diego was doing? It was like he was trying not to cry or something.
Yeah, and it was embarrassing for him. You could tell in the way the crowd cheered for him. He held his arm up and all that shit. It was very embarrassing for him because he knew he got his ass kicked the whole time. So he was standing up. It was bad.
It sucks. It does because we love Diego and I get it from a strategic point of view. It just the whole thing sucks. Yeah. So I guess we'll just move on to the main event of the evening. This is Corey Anderson versus Juan Blachowicz.
Damn. Corey, let's just start. Corey didn't even get a chance to get started.
No, he didn't.
He threw a couple hands, but he was marching him down too. Jan was fighting very well off his back foot, even though they were really just feeling each other out for the first minute. It felt like really no one was throwing. Everyone was anticipating something. Everyone was falling for feints, but it's really tactical.
I want to start with this. I want to ask you because this is the main event. This is the main talking point of this podcast today. Do you think Corey Anderson was looking past Jan because he had beaten him and he was already looking towards Jones? Because there was a lot of tweets, there were a lot of things that Corey Anderson was saying in interviews to suggest that maybe his full entire focus wasn't on Juan Blachowicz.
Yes, you could tell he was already thinking John Jones. He was thinking maybe I don't want to say that he wasn't giving Jan the respect he deserves, but maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was thinking, okay, I'm going to knock this guy out. I'm all hyped up, stole all the hype from Johnny Walker. That guy was supposed to be the next god. So maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell, dude. It's hard to tell. He went for what? 1 takedown? Maybe 2, and just got stuffed instantly. Jan's takedown defense looks really, really good right now.
Jan is, he just looks so much thicker and so much more powerful, man. I mean, he really did send Corey Anderson into the shadow realm.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was lights out for Corey, and then that hammer fist just sealed the deal.
And it was so tight, too. It wasn't a fully extended. It was a nice, tight little hook, and it landed perfectly.
Corey Anderson, he should know the power of Jan Blachowicz. He should not have thrown that lead kick without setting that punch up. There's no way. It's just, you can't do that with a big, powerful guy like that, because he comes in right away, and he throws that lead kick.
Yep.
That leaves it wide open, and Jan just caught him.
Chiesa said it best. He said, you can't leg kick inside the pocket with a power puncher.
Yes.
Because it just leaves your chin exposed, especially he had his hands down.
He
leg
did.
kick with your hands down.
He dropped that left hand. He dropped that left hand when he threw that. Oh, shit. When he threw that kick.
Yeah, if he had his left hand up, he would have blocked that. And light heavyweight, man, you got to be on your P's and Q's. You cannot make little mistakes like that.
Light heavyweight and heavyweight are the two just most lights out. You make one mistake, one crucial mistake, and that's the end of the fight, folks.
Yeah. Hopefully he talked to Ben Askren in the Shadow Realm because that guy needs to come back and fight.
It was so funny, too, because Joe Rogan and Rashad Evans had just did the MMA podcast, and they were talking about Corey Anderson being the dark horse.
Yeah.
And, I want to talk about Corey a little bit because I really do believe he is an elite level fighter. and I don't think he gets the respect he really deserves
Yes.
in the light heavyweight division.
That's why he's so angry.
That is why he's angry, and I think he might have let that anger made some unforced errors, right? Because of that and getting knocked out by Jan. Because I think he had the skill set. What I didn't understand about Corey Anderson's game plan whatsoever is, yes, he maybe tried once or twice in that fight to take him down, but you got to stick to what worked last time.
Yeah.
You got to work him in the clinch, get him up against the fence, take him down there with a single or a double leg. Like, don't stand up and bang with Jan Blachowicz right now.
Yeah.
Like, he's got power, man.
Yep.
I mean, he's put some people, on wherever, Queer Street.
Yeah, fucks him up.
Yeah.
He really does. He's got serious Polish power, man. And if you look at this guy's tape and you look at his tape from when he did fight Corey the first time 5-6 years ago, they look like completely different fighters.
Completely different.
They look completely
Both of them
different.
look way smaller. Mm-hmm. And Corey just basically dominated him on the ground.
Yeah.
That whole fight.
Yeah. Technically speaking, like not only physically, not only is he bigger, but technically speaking, he looks so much cleaner and crisper. His boxing looks great. Yeah. I'm very excited. I mean, people were saying Reyes rematch. So let's just talk what's next for Jan.
That's what I wanted to talk about next.
John Jones was there.
He was.
He went right up to John Jones, pointing at him, saying, "I'm next, motherfucker. Like, do you want it? Promise me right now, or will you be ready?"
I want to talk about something interesting too with John Jones. He was interviewed after this fight. From my point of view, and I could be completely wrong, but it's just my perspective, my point of view from what I saw from that interview. But man, John Jones was really hyping up Jan Blachowicz. I don't think he wants that Reyes rematch. He didn't bring up Reyes. He didn't talk about Reyes. Nothing. It was, oh yeah, I think with a knockout like that, Jan deserves it.
Yeah. If I was him, I'd avoid Reyes too. Mm-hmm.
And I really think that's what John's trying to do. He's going to try to get that fight. And if he beats Jan Blachowicz, he's not going to give Dominic Reyes a rematch. He's not. You want to know where he's going after Jan? He's going up to heavyweight to fight Stipe or to fight whoever else.
I hope not. Especially if he's going to be 217 pounds. He might get knocked the fuck out up at heavyweight. Yeah. Especially with the way Dominic was connecting with him. Dude, if you think Dominic Reyes has one-shot power, and he definitely does, let's be real, he definitely does.
Yeah.
Wait till you fight a fucking Francis
division.
Ngannou. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, you get touched once, you're done. You die. You get sent to the realm where you don't come back from. Corey's got a chance. He's got a chance to come back from the shadow realm. Slight chance.
Yeah, slight chance. Slight chance. Still a chance.
But still a chance, exactly. You fight Francis, you fucking die.
So I'll ask you two questions. One, where do you see the next fight for John Jones? Two, what do you want to see? What do you think will happen and what do you want to see? And they could be the same answer. But
okay, what do I think will happen is probably the Jan Blachowicz fight. Mm-hmm. I think that'll happen. Who knows when? Maybe July. And
probably International Fight Week.
July.
Jones typically likes to fight on. I've noticed that. Like last year, he fought on it too on 239. Mm-hmm. So against Santos. So
yeah, and then I think May is in Rio, and that's going to be the Henry Cejudo Jose Aldo fight. So it could be.
They're not
June.
going. Yeah, but they're not going to Rio.
No, John Jones won't. So it may be June. It may be July. We don't know if Marty versus the BMF Jorge will headline July, but it definitely will be on that card.
Is that fight even officially signed yet?
No.
Yeah, and I don't know if it will be. I don't know if it will be. I think Dana's waiting for that Woodley versus Leon Edwards fight. Yeah. I really do. Like I don't think what do you think about that? Honestly, do you think Jorge Masvidal deserves a title shot next?
Yes.
You do?
Yes. After the way he knocked out Ben Askren and then he knocked out fucked up Nate Diaz. Maybe not. Like on paper, you think about it, Ben Askren, Nate Diaz, that's not title shot worthy. Mm-hmm. But the way he did it, especially, and the way he fucked up
and the hype behind him,
and the hype behind him, I think he definitely should. If Marty was smart, he would be wanting that fight because he knows it's a money fight other than a Conor McGregor.
So question then, what do you do with the reigning defending champ? He defended his belt many, many times, Tyron Woodley. What if he does go out there and he beats Leon Edwards?
He doesn't get the
next
title
month.
Shot.
It's so what do we do with Tyron? Like, is he never going to get a title shot again?
Probably
he
not.
He was a reigning champ. I mean, he defended his belt, 4 or 5 times?
He probably won't because Dana White fucking hates him. We all know they don't get along.
But it seems like the relationship is getting better. I listen to a lot of like what Tyron says in interviews and stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, the UFC, you kind of got to go with it and stuff. So I think he's kind of found his place now. I'm not saying Dana, it's his best friend, but I think he took some notes from Ben Askren as far as like how to deal with Dana White and how to still do business with him, even if you necessarily might not like the man.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta have a better relationship than what they have had, because especially when in terms of business, if you want to make big money, which Tyron apparently wasn't because he's blown through it so much. Yeah. You gotta have a good relationship with Dana.
You do.
But back to John. John, who do I want to see him fight next? It's obvious. Honestly, it's Reyes. I really want to see that Reyes rematch. I think Reyes really has a really strong case of that he beat John Jones that night. So that's the fight I want to see, and that's a fight that can headline anywhere in the world. Yeah. Go anywhere in the world with that fight. It doesn't
By the way,
matter.
I went back and watched that John Jones fight again. I don't see how people scored the round 2 for John Jones. I still don't. I really don't. I know you said you did. There are a lot of people out there who said they scored that for John.
It was mainly
I thought
the
John
flurries.
took 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
I know, but yeah, the flurries just didn't do enough for me. He didn't land on him.
The Reyes didn't land his flurries for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's the fight I want to see. Will it happen? Probably not. I bet you he fights Jan, especially now. Light heavyweight looks like it's getting a lot of guys that John actually could fight. Because at first it was like, who is John going to fight? There's nobody there. Especially if Anthony Smith gets a nice knockout. We could do that rematch if
I don't want to see
finally.
that, though.
Me neither, because of the way he beat him. But you never know. Maybe Anthony Smith has to beat so many guys that he has to get another title shot. So Maheta, if Maheta comes back, gets a crazy knockout, fights someone like an Anthony Smith, beats him, he's getting another title shot.
I'd like to see Santos fight him again too.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job. The Sledgehammer
That's what I'm talking
did a
about,
great
Maheta.
job. What?
Maheta, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, you could really go anywhere with that division right now. It's looking like it could be stacked. Corey Anderson.
It is getting fun again, though. The light heavyweight division really sucked for a little while. I was like, dude, there's no real champs here. Like, this sucks. I mean, DC was a real champ. I do not, but you know what I mean? Like, before that even, it was a tough division to watch just because it was kind of depleted. And now we see a lot of killers in the lightweight division, or light heavyweight division.
Volkan Ozdemir, he throws a couple wins together. He could get a title shot. And, I thought he beat Dominic Reyes. That was a great fucking fight. And Volkan, the way he knocked out Ilir Tifi in his last fight, his boxing is so good, and he's got serious knockout power. So, I wouldn't mind seeing that fight either.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I think John Jones could fight.
Yeah, but Jan Blachowicz, man, fuck. Serious power. I hope he does get the title shot. I don't think he wins. Gun to my head right now, who am I taking? John Jones every fucking time. But you never know, man. You never know.
And that's the thing. Like, if you look at even the top 10, Dominic Reyes, John Jones is defeated. Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith at 3, Daniel Cormier at 4, Corey Anderson at 5. And then, Corey Anderson just lost to Jan. So, I mean, it's got to be either Dominic Reyes or Jan Blachowicz. That's it. Those are the only two options.
Or Santos come back, but who even knows where he even is.
Yeah. You know what I think we're gonna get? I think we're gonna get Jan Blachowicz, and I think Dominic Reyes is gonna take some time off. I think they're gonna match him up with Santos, and then the winner of that gets John. Because I think John makes work of Jan Blachowicz. I think he wins all 5 rounds.
Have you seen Dominic Reyes' leg on Instagram? Taking pictures of it, dude. It's just black,
just
blue,
massive,
just
gross.
fucking, just fucked up. John Jones was walking around, climbing up on chairs like he didn't. Like, that guy must have Superman healing or something.
When he was in New Mexico this weekend at this fight night, and he looked fine.
Yeah, and then you see Dominic Reyes' leg, and it's just fucking chewed up still. It looks nasty, and this was a few days ago, so who knows. Really excited for this division. It's actually looking very good right now, like we were saying, because it was not looking so good earlier.
So, Volkan, do you know Volkan's next fight by chance?
No, I don't think he's even got one scheduled. He's been off quite a while since he fought Ilir. He fucked Ilir up, too. That was a great fight. Great fight.
I guess he fought in December 21st against Rakic.
Oh, he did.
Rakic, or
and he beat him.
Yeah, he beat him. Yep.
Yeah, okay, now I remember that. And Rakic, he was coming off that Jimmy Manawa fucking head kick from hell. Jesus Christ. Did you see that? He killed a man.
Oh, he killed him. Yeah, he killed him, absolutely.
He killed his career.
That is CTE in the making right there.
That was nasty, dude. And that guy was on a streak of getting fucked up in fights. That freaking Santos knockout was nasty, and then to come out and get head kicked like that, I'm not surprised at all that he retired.
No.
Not surprised. No, that
was
disgusting.
Maybe we get a Corey Anderson versus Volkan Ozdemir.
That'd be a great fight, And if Jan doesn't get the title shot, if they do go the Reyes route, there's got to be someone that Jan can fight in the meantime. But he says he'd wait out. Say Volkan Ozdemir. Why not do Jan Volkan Ozdemir fight in the meantime if he does fight Reyes? But Jan says he's going to wait. So if he was smart, he would wait because he probably does deserve the title.
Yeah, as far as I want to see, because, again, we do predictions on this show. We're not professionals or anything at it. We never claimed to be. But I was so wrong in my analysis of Dominic Reyes. I didn't think he could withstand John. I didn't think he'd have a chance. And I was completely wrong with that. And the reason why I bring that up now is because now that it's all said and done, I can admit when I'm wrong. And two, I think if I got to go with Jan or Dominic for the rematch, like for me personally, I got to see that Dominic Reyes rematch immediately.
Yeah.
I want to see it, even though I had John 48-47. Let's be clear about that. And I stuck by that when I watched the fight. I think John won 3, 4, and 5. But man, I just that's the fight I got to see. I don't want to see Jan Blachowicz because I know how that's going to end. I know how that's going to end. And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I don't think Jan's got as many tools as Dominic Reyes does. Dominic Reyes impressed me exponentially with that fight against John Jones. I mean, his angles, the way he was coming in, the way he was pressuring John. It was one of the first times we ever saw John run away and try to get out of things. And I don't know. And it was the first time John Jones has never been knocked out or been knocked down, rather. That was a knockdown. I went back and rewatched it again.
Hit him in the chest.
Yeah, that was a knockdown. Even though he might have slipped a little bit, that is a friggin' knockdown.
Yeah, it should have counted.
It should have counted. They should go back in the books and fix that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a consolation prize if you don't got the fucking belt, but
yeah, or the W.
Or the W. But at least he can say he knocked down John Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that's the fight they make. That's the fight I want to see. That's the pay-per-view I want to buy. I don't want to buy Jan Blachowicz. I mean, like you said, no disrespect to Jan, but I don't think he's the one to knock him out. He's not the one to knock him out. He's definitely got the power to do it.
He does have the power, and I totally agree with that.
And he's got the boxing to get inside and touch him.
Yeah.
I just don't think...
But how much can he touch him?
Exactly. I think John Jones' defense, especially with that Reyes fight, his defense was so fucking good in that fight. He was amazing in that fight. And if he holds that defense strong and even gets even better, like he says he's going to, it's going to be so tough to repeat that. Dominic Reyes fought pretty much the perfect fight, and it still wasn't good enough. So, we'll see.
You know something funny that I noticed when I was watching that fight card too, because John Jones was there, but DC was the one, he was the analyst during it. I wonder if they ran into each other or anything during that time. It would have been interesting. I wish I could have found some footage. Maybe they ran into each other.
I wonder, I don't think so. I don't think they did, but it would have been real interesting. And he had to point him out in the crowd. And I saw a meme on MMA World on YouTube. Check him out, guys. The best YouTube channel of MMA. Just doing quick news snippets. But there was a meme at the end where DC was pointing him out. And it's like when you have to point out the guy you fucking hate. And then it was just playing in the background. You're such a fucking piece of shit, scum of the earth. I wish I could go next door and spit in your fucking face. I was laughing so hard watching that.
I want to bring something up to you too, because this is very, very curious for me. And I started thinking about this a lot when I started watching the fight, and I noticed both of them were there. DC might not get that rematch against Stipe. Stipe is doing this long game, which I think is really fucked up, because I do defend DC on this, where he was going to take that Brock Lesnar fight, but it fell through, so he gave Stipe the rematch. And then Stipe is kind of playing this long haul bullshit game of, I'm fine, I'm not fine, I'm going to have surgery, but he's not giving anyone any details. And we deserve that as fans, because you are the champion of the world, and the belt's kind of on hold.
I think it's his way of getting back at DC for making him wait over a year.
It is, and it's stupid. It's dumb. But to go on to make my point, we're starting to see something with John Jones. We're starting to see holes in his game. It's still the greatest of all time, pound for pound greatest of all time, especially after this fight. The resume he has put together is unquestionably, he is pound for pound the greatest fighter of all time. He has 14 title defenses. No one else has ever done that, ever. That means he has had 15 title fights. That is insane. So he is pound for pound greatest, but we're starting to see him slow down a little bit.
Definitely.
I know DC,
it's either he's slowing down or the competition is coming up to his level.
Right, and that's something
probably a mixture of both.
It is. But now we're starting to see John wear a little bit. We're starting to see him go into decisions. And we got to remember young John Jones. I mean, we're talking like a 22, 23-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He's throwing elbows. He's knocking dudes out in the first round. It kind of a lot reminds me of like Johnny Walker in his early career, minus the loss that he just had to Corey Anderson. But a lot of those crazy elbows and unorthodox striking and coming in and knocking dudes out, we don't see that anymore out of John Jones.
Yeah.
We're seeing a much more defensive John Jones who still wins, who's still the GOAT, who still wins fights at the end of the day, but we're not seeing that explosiveness from him.
Yeah.
My question, Does DC, and I know we always say this all the time, DC doesn't want the third fight. But when you see Jon Jones slowing down, you know you're not going to get that Stipe fight. What do you think? Do you want to see the DC Jon Jones 3 now that we see that there are some holes in Jon Jones's game?
No.
Really?
It's easy for me. No. I don't want to see that fight. And DC said it's Stipe or bust. It's Stipe retirement.
That's what he says.
Stick
but
with
I mean,
that.
if they offer him good money, he might take that fight.
I mean, yeah, if they offer him, hey, I'll give you $3 million to fight Jon Jones 3 at heavyweight, he'd be stupid not to take that. It's because it's going to be way more money than any Stipe fight will be. So yeah, he would have to take it. But should he? No. I think he gets fucked up again, even at heavyweight. You know?
Even at heavyweight?
Even at heavyweight, yeah.
No.
Even at heavyweight.
Wouldn't that be fun for an interim belt, though, at heavyweight? If Stipe can't fight,
yes,
you go Jon Jones versus Daniel Cormier.
Yes, but I think DC really does only have one fight left. See, and so many people disagree with me on that, especially Dana White. Mm-hmm. Dana White says, hey, I could tell when you got to talk to a guy, you should retire. And he says DC is not that man. He says DC's definitely got years left. But DC's thinking about his health. He's thinking about, he's been knocked out a couple fights now. He got finished in that last Jon Jones fight, and he got finished by Stipe. So, he's thinking about his brain. He's thinking about his family. He's thinking about his future with his kids.
Which is all totally respectable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I really want to see that fight. I would buy it. Don't get me wrong. I'd definitely buy it, but I don't think I want to see it.
Yeah. Okay, well, I respect your opinion there. And I do see, for DC, he's got a career outside of the UFC. He's literally a great analyst. No more favorite than Joe Rogan, John Anik, in DC. That is my absolute favorite trio commentating fights. There is no better than that.
Yeah, and have you seen that detail show he does?
No, I haven't.
So it's so they do it with baseball. They'll bring in freaking Derek Jeter, and he'll break down all these baseball plays, super important plays of the week. And they bring in Peyton Manning, and he'll break down all these super important football plays for the week, and it's a show on ESPN Plus. So they do it with DC. He does all the big fights, and he breaks down he broke down the Conor McGregor fight with 40 seconds with Cowboy, and he said he broke that down into a 13-minute video, the 40-second fight. So that details. That's what the show is called, detail. So they go down to the littlest, minute details of the fight, and it's really fucking good.
Everyone
needs to check that show out.
Yeah,
DC's
for sure. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
That's on ESPN Plus.
ESPN Plus.
They're starting to get some really good shows on there. They got Ariel and the Bad Guy as well.
Great show. Great show. I
didn't
watch it at first for the longest time, but now I watch it all the time. It's a great show.
It is a great show, and it's fun too. And I like the questions that they pose. And that's something that I try to incorporate on this podcast too, is kind of asking you questions kind of throughout the podcast, getting your takes on things, because it's fun. It's fun to do that. You know, the what ifs.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yep.
Well, Mason, I have to pee.
Alrighty. Okay, so we'll wrap up this recap. No, that's okay, because I got to piss too. So it's all good. So, hey, everyone, we are the Church of MMA. You guys can find us on YouTube. Type in the Church of MMA. Subscribe to our channel. Like our videos. Comment below. Get interactive with us. Let us know what you think on upcoming fights, on recap episodes. Poke fun at us because we don't predict everything right. We're just two MMA fans, two UFC, Bellator fans. You can find our social medias everywhere. We're all the same. You go at the Church of MMA. That's at the Church of MMA. My name is Mason Knight. That is Tabor Cragen.
Yep. Follow us on Twitter, guys. I'm live tweeting all the fights. So let's start a community. Let's talk about the fights as they're happening, and ask me questions. Yeah. Give us content for the podcast. Help us out. We appreciate it.
And do fan questions too on Twitter. Tabor runs our Twitter, and he's really good at it. He's interactive with everyone. So ask us questions. We throw up Twitter polls and stuff. Who's going to win this fight? What do you think about this matchup? We got a lot going on. We're trying to build this as effectively as we can. It's been a lot of fun so far. So
a lot of fun.
Until next time, everyone.